everybody. This is Tracy Malone from NarcissistAbuseSupport.com. Today, I would like to talk about a topic that just keeps coming back up. You know, when the universe just brings you messages and other people are talking about the same thing, it's synchronicity. Talk about this. People are wondering what to do, and it's such a silly little thing. But when three people have it happen in 1 week, I'm like, let's talk about this because what do we do with the pictures in the photo albums of your ex and the kids? What do we do? Here's what we're going to talk about. So I know how painful divorce is. I know that any possible thing that reminds you of them has got to get out of the house because it's triggering and you can't even imagine it, right? So I'm going to bring in a couple different scenarios of picture uh-ohs, and then we'll go into some scenarios of what you should do when you are divorced from a narcissist and there's family photos that are laying around, whether they're in an album, whether they're not. So I'll start with a childhood memory of mine. And now I was born in the 60s. And in the 60s, like Instamatic cameras with film were just becoming something people could have. Like it was so new. Now we have very few pictures. In fact, there were three sisters. Um, every single family picture is in a box that I am the keeper of. And that box is about the size of a computer bag. The entire 65 years of people's lives reduced to two or three pictures. And I wish more than anything that I had more pictures. And so overcompensating on that particular trauma of never having any pictures, never feeling validated, never having memories, because memories come back to us from pictures. Like the only memories of my childhood I remember are those pictures from that red suitcase where we went to the World's Fair with my father when I was like 5 years old. And, you know, I don't remember it, but I remember the pictures, and it invokes that kind of emotion and closeness to something that happened a long time ago, right? So when my son was born, we were living in an age, and he was in the 90s. So we were in an age where double prints were big. You could just put your film in and poof, out comes two copies of everything. And so I dedicated my life to building albums for him, and I divided all those extra double prints to his father after we got a divorce. So he had boxes, and I'm talking like the big plastic tubs of them. Now I have 24 of them under my stairs right now, but I gave his father lots and lots and lots of pictures. Now here's another, we don't want to do this and ever again to affect a child. Years later, his father gave them back to him and said, I don't need all these pictures. Why don't you take them? Well, while the intention was probably nice and space-wise, he probably doesn't have space for them. However, the injury to my son was I'm not good enough. You had to give them back to me. Like it definitely left and felt like a rejection to him. We don't want to do that. So now we have two, don't do it. Don't not take memories if you do that. And don't give back the pictures to the kid, if that comes up, right? And then I was talking to another friend of mine, and she said her mother ripped out every picture of her father from their photo albums. Their entire photo albums is just like page after page, big blank block, big empty block. You don't think that's traumatizing? You don't think like this is not safe and this is not healthy? Absolutely. It is not healthy to rip out the pictures from the book and then have them there because let's just say you're dead one day. Kids are going to open up and go, what's all these empty holes? It's a very strange thing, right? Um, and then the last, so again, we don't want to do that. We don't want to rip out the pictures and leave big blank holes. Again, we're on what not to do. This one was this is last story, I think, is my ex-husband, book author of, not author of, but Divorcing Your Narcissist Husband, not my son's father. He was my son's father for 10 years of his then 18 years. And we had digital cameras now, and we had everything backed up. We had this recumbent, is that the word, where it just keeps, it takes the same one. You have 3 backup drives. Absolutely no way you're ever going to lose your data. Couldn't get more secure. During our divorce, the whole thing was erased. 10 years of pictures. My son's first braces, his only violin recital, his baseball pictures, his birthday party, the vacations that we took, all of it gone. Now, I know the reason they erased the memories of our life together was just to make sure there were no memories and nothing that could be used against them in a court of law. Poof, let's just get rid of 10 years of a child. That's half his life, actually more than half, right? Poof. So again, all of these are what not to do. And, you know, now we're going to talk about what do we do. My son is got a new girlfriend and they want pictures. And so I recently was under those stairs looking for the albums, and I dug through and found a lot of them, and I opened them and I was like, yikes, father in that picture, yikes, stepfather in that album, right? But it's not my place. Now, my son is also older. He's 29 years old. So, he doesn't hold any feelings either way for any of these guys. It's just, can I see who I was as a child, mom? And so I left the pictures. I left the pictures of him and his father instead of the big holes, and him and his stepfather, because those are his memories. It's not my job to erase those memories for him. Now, I understand that not everyone can get to that place, right? But what do we do with the pictures? Again, another suggestion is if you have albums with the pictures and you don't want them, you want to be able to, look through these albums without that, trigger of looking at your ex, you can remove the pictures. And what if you put in, and I recently did this, I did it not removing the pictures, but I wrote a little synopsis and stuck it into the albums before I gave it to my son. This was your first pony ride, and this was when you first did that, or you did that, or you did that. This was, your first snowball thing, or here I am as an Easter bunny, and we have that for all these years, So describing what was in that, you could put that little, write it out on a little, thing, and stick it in the book where the hole was of the other parent. Now, let's say you've taken them out and you've got a whole bunch of pictures in a pile. Do you throw them out? I sure hope not. As much as your anger is, this is not your memories that you are, blowing up. It is your child's past. Just like me thinking about how I wish there were more pictures of me as growing up. If you're going to be throwing them out, it is not your job to throw them out. However, if you want to take them out, put them in a box. You can either offer them to the children if they're old enough. I would suggest, if you do that, throw some pictures of you in there as well. So that it's not just a mom book and a dad book. It's wherever they want to put. But your books clearly don't want the other partner in it. And their book that the children can make and put their own albums together when they're ready can have both of you in it. This is a reflection of their past, and they get to make these albums for you. So, that's kind of a good idea. I really like if you give them and let them make the album. So instead of throwing them away, you can always ask if your ex wants them. I would not suggest that you take them out and hand them to the kids and go, here, give these to your father, give these to your mother, right? Because now the children are seeing you are rejecting pictures of them and their other parent, right? So to me, I don't know that you need to give the other parent. I mean, certainly if you've got plenty, like I had plenty, here you go, here's half of them, have a nice day, right? But if you have limited amount of pictures, and if you could just dig out the pictures, give them to the kids, let them decide what they want to do to them. And if they're too young, put them in a box, keep them away from your album until they are ready and they want those pictures. And then you could bring them out and say, here you go. These are the pictures that, you've always wanted to do. So, keep them in a box, give them to the ex, give them to the kids. replace the ones that are in the album with some cute little memories or thoughts or, messages from mom or dad. Just build something else. Because if you're faced with what I just faced, which is a 29-year-old going, tell me about my life as a baby for the first time in 29 years. We looked through them together and we remembered that was your first horseback. That was your first soccer thing. Look how cute you are in this Halloween costume. And by the way, mom made that Halloween costume because he's going to look at this stuff and not know. I made all those costumes. Every little birthday cake in those pictures, your mom made those. It makes it a more special moment to sit there and describe those things. So add that stuff to your photo albums. And, just because they trigger you does not mean they trigger your children. And if your children do not have a good relationship with the other parent, then put them in a box. Someday they might want them. You don't have to poke the bear and go, here, take these pictures. Right? We don't want to do that. But the concept is save the children's memories. Don't make the mistakes that I described in the beginning of this video by erasing their childhood. Again, this is their past and not yours to decide to take away. I know your anger and I know you're hurt, and maybe you just don't even want them knowing. But one day they'll be like my son and say, tell me about my past. And I don't want you to have thrown out all of their past pictures and been in a situation where you have a little regret because now they really want to know. And every situation is different. I know it's not for everybody. Some people are just so hateful of their exes and they've done some horrific things that getting rid of them and getting them out is probably a good idea. But how about if you get rid of them and stick them in a box for your kids if they ever want them later? Again, they might find someone that wants to know about their childhood or just anything. Just make that decision, but protect the children's memories, because erasing the memories of the childhood that they had is erasing half of them. And that can lead to lots of dysfunction later. So this is Tracy Malone from narcissistabusesupport.com, an off topic for what to do with your family pictures after you've been with a narcissist. Hope this helps, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you.